Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode in the series. I guess you could call it a series. 2 episodes is a series, and it's going to carry on, called an in-depth discussion. This is where I take a highlight from my podcast, the Resonant Podcast. Go and look in the description how you can find that, or just type in the Resonant Podcast on iTunes and Spotify. Episode 2 should be up by the time you're watching it, but if you're watching it as soon as I posted this, it may take a day or so for it to go live. But this is us talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance. It goes on from Skyrim to how I'm not so keen on single player games most of the time, but then Kingdom Come Deliverance is basically what made me get into them. So yeah, without further ado, that's where the conversation starts. If you want to go and check the full podcast, make sure you check the description for how you can do that. But sit back and relax and enjoy. Is Kingdom Come Deliverance sexist? Thing is, like, it wasn't, but then Kingdom Come Deliverance came out, but I think it's because it was set in a medieval era, which made me sit down. And let me just check how many hours I've got on that. And this is, bear in mind, this is a single player game, so it's not going to be like thousands of hours in it. I mean, I've got 70 or so hours in it. For a single player game, that's not too bad. Especially a single player game that has all mods, so the only thing you can do with it is literally play the single player campaign. And I would say the single player campaign for me took me at least 60 or so hours. So like,
yeah, I mean, you are a bit slow, aren't you?
Well, I was making videos on it as I went through, so like certain bits I'd like stop and make a few videos on like a certain bit, and then I'd carry on the story.
Yeah, like that one where someone fucked a horse or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that actually,
that's the only one I remember.
I don't understand why so many people got triggered by that. I did a live stream, and there was actually a mission where you like had this hallucination, and you had sex with a horse, and everyone was like, "What? You just clickbait type? You have sex with?" You actually do have sex with a horse, but it's just for some reason people didn't believe that would be in the game. Don't know why. People are stupid.
Yeah. I always hate it when people criticise games for being accurate to the period they're trying to portray. Like when people complain that there's no powerful women or that there's racism in games, it's just sort of like that happened at that time. They're trying to make a historically accurate game. Stop complaining that they did it well.
Yeah. I mean,
are you saying that people abused women well, James? Is that what you're saying?
Twisting of
there was a whole.
Well, people probably did do it.
There was a whole thing going on.
Doesn't mean it was right.
There was a whole thing going on before the release of Kingdom Come Deliverance about whether the game was racist, and it was just. I mean, the game said from the get-go they want to make a historically accurate simulation of the medieval era in Bohemian 1403 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and it was sexist and racist, because they were saying it racist because you didn't have black people in it. And I guess
it's difficult. You can't treat the game as if it's the game company putting their views into the game. Well, it was just a historically accurate game. It had nothing to do with someone believing that. It was just that's what it is. They were trying to immerse you in the history and how it was, and that was how it was back then.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to make a historically accurate thing, and you can't just completely change how history worked. There's the new DLC that's coming out and called A Woman's Lot, which is about Teresa, which was the main female character. And I mean, the name of the DLC says itself. It's called A Woman's Lot. The DLC, I'm assuming, there's no confirmation, but it's about like how it was for a woman back in those times and how you deal with it. And like, you can't have women that were, I mean, I'm sure there are always exceptions, but on the most part women didn't go to fight, so you're not going to have female soldiers in those times. They ruled the homes, and like the men had pretty much no power in the homes, and that's shown in but it's hard to balance it.
Yeah, it's difficult, people trying to put today's standards on a historically accurate game. Yeah. Because how are you supposed to immerse yourself in the history if you make it exactly like today? Well, you're going to have them going around with mobile phones out. Doesn't make any sense.
They didn't have mobile phones in medieval.
No, they had ravens. They send a raven to each other.
Medieval, whatever country we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that. Did you guys ever actually play Kingdom Come Deliverance in the end?
I don't have the game.
I played it a bit. I never really got
How
into
much
it.
did you play up to?
Oh, like nothing.
No. Did you not even get past did you get past the prologue?
Well, I got quite I got to the point where you have to beat that guy up to get some stuff back.
That was not past the prologue. The prologue was not past the prologue.
I didn't get past the prologue. Was really long.
It's 3 hours long.
Yeah,
like
no,
the title card doesn't
that.
show until 3 hours into the game.
I got to that bit, and the game kept bugging on that fight.
Yeah.
And wouldn't work properly.
It was very
So
buggy.
the fight took probably 30 minutes of my time, and after that I just sort of went, what a waste. I've achieved nothing. I've just beat up a bloody fat man.
I would definitely recommend, if you have like a few hours on a weekend, just sit down, because it's not buggy anymore, they completely fixed everything, just to go through, at least do the prologue and a few missions after that, and by the time, if you put like 2 or 3 hours into it at once, you'll be completely addicted to it. Because I had a problem with that I was trying to make, as soon as it came out, I was trying to make a walkthrough videos of it, but everyone was making walkthrough videos. So before it came out, I'd made a lot of videos leading up to it, a bit like what I was doing with Bannerlord, but the game actually came out eventually. And so I made a lot of videos leading up to the release of Kingdom Come Deliverance that were getting loads of views, and everyone was subscribing for Kingdom Come Deliverance videos at that point. And then the game came out, and then I started doing walkthrough videos, and I was like, why are these only getting like 3,000-4,000 views a video, and before I was getting like 10, 20, 30,000 views a video? And it was because everyone was making walkthrough videos of the game. And so what I did is I sat down and I completed the whole game on my own without recording it, and I had so much more fun doing that than I would when I'm recording, because I'm actually focusing on the story, and then I go back and make like tutorial videos or like different one-off videos that weren't on the story, and then people started watching them again.
Yeah, that was probably the better way to do it.
But it's one of those games that you do have to just immerse yourself in it.
Yeah, there's quite a few single player games like that. If they're any good, they take time, because they have an immersive story that you need to get yourself into. It's not the sort of thing you just jump on, do 5 minutes of, and then leave again.
Yeah, it was probably, I wouldn't say it's the first game, but it's one of the first games, at least since I've been like properly playing, as putting time into PC gaming and doing YouTube as a job. It's one of the first games during that time that I've actually sat down and played through and genuinely really enjoyed, instead of like going and playing multiplayer games, because everything's more fun with multiplayer. I've said this many times, it's so much easier to make a fun multiplayer game than a fun single player game, because no matter what you do, it's fun with your mates. Like you say, even CSGO isn't a great game the way it's made, but it's fun when you're playing with your friends.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't work if you don't have any friends.
That is true. If Kingdom Come Deliverance, I think someone's working on like a co-op mod at the moment, which is going to be quite interesting.
If you have no friends, play Kingdom Come Deliverance. This is the advice we're giving to you.
Yep.
If you have no friends, you've got no life, don't play multiplayer games, because no one wants you there. Go play Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Watch out, because this might be the segment that I put up on the channel later.
Why would you put this on the
can we just, as well as having no friends, can we just put some certain nationalities out there as well?
Because it's Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Like Russian people, don't
make
play
it racist.
multiplayer games,
Russian people
please.
can go away.
Like just, or at least just don't say Suka every 5 seconds.
Either don't understand English, or try to speak it, but are really like retarded about it.
Right, just ignore what they're saying. If you play Kingdom Come Deliverance, it's a good game.
Chinese people, you should stay on your part of the world.
No. I don't mind you playing the game. Just play it with each other and not us.
Yeah.
There's
a billion of you. Surely there's enough of you to make your own servers.
They're talking about Chinese people and Russian people in CSGO.
Chinese.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like...
Well, not just CS, Atlas as well. Have we talked about Atlas yet? Did we talk about that?
No, we haven't. We'll go on to that.
We should talk about that.
I'm trying to do a Kingdom Come Deliverance segment to put on the channel.
Yeah, well, we messed it up for you. That's the plan.
I'll just use my editing non-prowess.
No, you're not allowed to do that.
Jacob, if you do that, I'll just scream for the rest of the podcast.
Okay, I won't do that. But before we go off Kingdom Come Deliverance, I want to talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance having a sequel, because I'm pretty sure there will be plans for it. It made a lot of money, and for a first IP for a company selling, it was like, I think it was 2 million copies, probably a bit more than that. It's pretty decent. Especially for a game like, I mean, it's all well and good saying that Apex Legends has like 50 million people that play at the moment, but Kingdom Come Deliverance was a £50-60 game. Selling 2 million of them is a probably a lot more successful than 50 million people playing a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a different style of game. There's always going to be less people putting multiple hours in than there are people jumping into one game.
And of course it's set in medieval Europe, which isn't exactly the most mainstream setting for a game, if we're going to be completely...
The issue with a sequel to Kingdom Come is they have to find a way to make it different.
Yeah.
I could imagine a game like that would get reasonably repetitive. If just brought a new game out in a slightly different setting with a reskin, it's not going to be any good.
I don't know though, because you haven't played the story, and as the story, it felt like a HBO TV show in the form of a game. The ending for the story is Hans and Henry walking off to the Citadel to go and give a letter to the capital, go and give a letter to the Lord or whatever in the capital to bring an army to go and help fight this massive army that was for the whole of Kingdom Come Deliverance. There's this big army in the distance. It's sort of the Hitchcock method, where you have that ticking time bomb under the table the whole time, which was this big army that you knew was going to attack at some point, but in the middle there was bandits, there was smaller army skirmishes that you had to deal with, and then eventually at the end of this, that big army is on its way, and then the end of Kingdom Come Deliverance is them going off to get help from another big army. So I think the next game, they've set it up pretty well. I was a bit annoyed at the time that it was such a cliffhanger, but I mean, it sets up the next game so well.
Because if they make another spectacular story, they probably could get another game out of it easily.
Yeah, I just hope that it is resolved at some point, and it's not like The Walking Dead, where it's just on and on and on and on. It's good to have more games as long as you're keeping the writing and stuff well, but like The Walking Dead in terms of TV shows has just gone on, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. You can't drag it out
too far.
Game of Thrones is ending on the 8th of April.
I saw the trailer for that.
That looks insane, but something like that where it has these storylines and been going on for a while, but it has an end in sight, which now everyone is...
I think
everyone is so hyped for Game of Thrones because they know this is it, this is the end, so they know this is going to be the big season. It needs to be similar.
I think one
of
the best things that works with Game of Thrones was the fact that no character dragged their story out too far. If it was a point where the character was in a position where they will probably die, they died. There was none of this, we've got to protect them because they've got a cool story going on.
Season 7 had a few of those. I mean, like in the ice, in the north, when you thought Tormund was definitely dead when he's getting dragged down by the White Walk, the Whites, and then all of a sudden he was saved. He probably should have died then, but
possibly.
Spoiler alert: Kingdom Come Deliverance is Game of Thrones. Case closed.
And in the end